It is always game day in Cleveland. Wow, what a game. The Browns are able to beat the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Welcome to the post-game podcast. He's Daryl Ruiter. I'm Andy Baskin. 33-31, brought to you by our friends at Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling systems. Daryl, give me your immediate reaction to the 41-yard field goal as it went up through the uprights, and the Browns pulled off a minor miracle by beating the Ravens in Baltimore.
Holy forking bleeping bleep. That's what I thought. I couldn't believe it. They stole that one, Andy.
Did they? I mean, I don't know. Keep going. You tell me why they stole it. I'll tell you why.
They totally stole it, and they earned it. Like, just because they said they stole it, that's not negative. Like,
okay,
they stole that game from the Ravens. They trailed in this game 17-3 or 14-0 in the first, 17-3 in the second, 24-9 in the third, 31-17 in the fourth, but they fought back and scored the final 16 as Dustin Hopkins went from the GOAT to the hero in the span of 8 minutes, because after Greg Newsome returned that interception for a touchdown and Hopkins was wide left on the PAT, I sat there and said, of course it went wide left and the Browns are still down a point. But he got the game winner through the uprights, and that was a big boy win, Andy, for the Cleveland Browns. That was not luck. That was not whatever the haters and the detractors want to say about this year's Browns team. This is not the Browns team that we are typically used to watching these last 25 years. There's something special about this group. And as I wrote in my post-game Brownie Bites, one word describes this team this year. It is resilient. And they were resilient on so many levels on Sunday afternoon in Baltimore. And they have been resilient on a multitude of levels this entire season. What a great win for Browns fans to celebrate.
All right, just for fun, pick the play of the game. You got one play of the game? You got to pick one.
You know what? I am going to pick.
Hang on. I'm going to write mine down. So in case we pick the same one.
All right, hang on.
I'm going to put mine here. I got my Sharpie out.
Here.
And I'm writing it down. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see it.
Yes, I am going. Because I got to look up the exact. There's two of them. I have two.
You pick one. Pick one. Don't make me go Jeff Phelps on you.
It's tough. You know what? I'm going to give it to. I don't care. I'm giving it to David Njoku.
Njoku.
Yes, that catch and run where he carried half the damn Raven defense on his back. He refused to go down. I'm going to say I was tempted to go Jerome Ford, where everyone converged to keep pushing the pile forward there in the fourth quarter. But I think Njoku's catch and run, where he was carrying Ravens and refused to go down, I felt like that was the play of the game. It might not have won the football game. It might not have put the Browns in the lead. It might not have put points on the scoreboard. But I felt like that play alone exemplified not only him as a football player, Andy, but this football team, the no quit.
All right, that's the one you're going with. I just want to triple check something just to make sure, because I'm going back and forth. I wasn't going to pick a different one.
Okay.
You
just got to spill it. Go. Let it go.
All right. Nah.
Stick with it.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. I got. I just want to make sure that I got this right. I think I'm 100%. Because I don't want to be the guy that brain farted and said the wrong name on what I was thinking. So, where is it? There it is. And okay, good. I'm 100% correct. I just didn't want to make sure I made a mistake, and now I got to find you again on my things. I am picking one play. Wyatt Teller.
Which one though? Because he had
the fumble recovery on the last drive.
Okay. Where he saved the day. Okay.
Yes.
I thought
I don't think people are going to talk about that. I think that'll be the least talked about play in the winning effort for the Browns. But man, when Deshaun lost the ball and he got stripped,
Yeah.
when Wyatt Teller was there to pick it up, boom, man, that was everything. That I was like, you know what? There's some karma going on here. I know they missed the extra point,
Right.
which was his first, I think, in 14 tries. So, and you know, the only thing he really did, like, I didn't go crazy. Normally, I would go crazy going, oh, he missed the damn extra point, blah, 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 blah. He just forced it because, like, you felt like the Browns would get the ball back. I wasn't even concerned about that. I knew they would get it back, but what he did do was he forced you to end that game in regulation. That's what happened when he missed the extra point.
Yeah. Well, Wyatt Teller made like 8 pancake blocks in that game.
Oh, he did. Oh, there was the one time he crushed the guy. That was amazing.
I mean, he was just absolutely blowing fools up all afternoon long. But you're right. He saved, and I even posted on that. He saved the day by falling on that strip sack. So I can't argue that. But I did drop a WTF when Hopkins missed the PAT.
You're not the only one.
I'm not gonna lie.
There's a million things I want to go through. What does this game mean for Deshaun Watson? What did this mean for Deshaun Watson? Because I got to tell you, excuse me, he toughed it out. Man, did he tough it out. You could see his leg was hurting.
Right.
You probably knew that his arm was hurting. But today he didn't throw the ball like his arm was hurting, except for the first pass that was a pick six. Then you were like, oh, here we go again.
Well, that was going to be a pick six regardless of who ended up at whatever level of that defense, because it looked like he was trying to dump it out to David Njoku. And there was a Raven. I couldn't see who it was, but there was a Raven that was breaking on that. So that route was getting jumped no matter what. Look, I mean,
it was almost like the Ravens knew it was coming, almost like they were stealing signs. Sorry, it was too soon. Too soon for that joke. Sorry.
So,
strictly sarcasm.
I'm just ignoring you at this point.
Thank you.
That's the difference.
No Harbaugh jokes here. Sorry, nothing to see.
Wrong brother. But 6 of 20 in the first half, 79 yards, and the pick six, very forgettable first half for Deshaun. Second half, though, completed all 14 of his pass attempts, a $139 and a touchdown. He had 3 runs for 18 yards. Let's not forget, he also had a beautiful read on the 2-point try, running it in up the middle. I think that was a pretty critical run for him there. But look, that second half for Watson was why they gave up 6 picks and $230 million
the final drive, right? You got the ball late, go help us win.
For that type of gutsy performance. I mean, like in the second half, right? They had this, what was it, 17 plays, 75 yards?
Longest drive since 2017?
2015.
2015?
Yeah. As far as time goes, 10 minutes and 9 seconds off the clock. Kareem Hunt scored on the 3-yard touchdown. That's 5 straight games Kareem Hunt has scored a touchdown. He leads the team with 6 of those, by the way. But when another 6-play, 75-yard drive, and then 12 plays, 58 yards, and they took the final 4 minutes and 55 seconds off the clock. They made sure Lamar Jackson did not get the ball back. Excellent, excellent job by the Browns.
Wait, are you not allowed to complain about Kevin Stefanski then? Is this a Stefanski-free complaint week?
Yes.
Not you. I'm talking about everyone that calls this week. That's coming.
Yes. I mean, I had written down that Kevin Stefanski was about to be 2-6 because when it wasn't looking good. I was like, okay, this is 2-6 against the Ravens for Kevin. He's now 3-5.
Looks a lot different, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it looks a lot different.
Crooked numbers.
But yeah, I again, it's not that Kevin's calling bad games. It's just you're a byproduct of what your offense executes, right? And there were times where, let's be honest about it, the offense wasn't executing. But no, I think Kevin Stefanski continues to be a pretty solid play caller. He's not Andy Reid, but pretty solid play caller. And while his victory speeches don't exactly make me want to run threw
I
a
didn't
ball
see.
for
Did
him.
you see the victory speech
I
from
haven't
today?
seen it. I haven't seen this
Boy.
week yet. As we record this, but like, look, these guys play hard for him. They're not giving up, right?
Especially the defense. Wow. And the offensive line. I mean,
Defense gives up.
and the running backs. I mean, everybody played hard. The tight ends, but everybody played hard in this
Yeah,
one.
defense gives up 31 points. They gave up what they end up giving up yards wise. They came in with the top overall defense. They ended up giving up 306 yards to Baltimore. 106 of those came on the ground. Look, it 14-0, 17-3, 31-17. Like, there were plenty of opportunities for see you next week against Pittsburgh.
Right. Let's just go 1-1. Right.
Yeah.
They easily could have laid down and died early on.
Now you have an opportunity after this win, Andy, to come back home. And if you can beat the Steelers, you're absolutely in the running for the division title now. Now, we're going to get into what's left on this schedule for the Browns. But, man, I just – this was an impressive win. It really might be one of the most impressive wins of the Kevin Stefanski era.
You could say it was one of the most impressive wins since post 99. I mean, there just aren't that many of them.
Go back. You know what? I think that this was the most consequential win for the Cleveland Browns since the Phil Dawson stanchion win in overtime in Baltimore in 2007. Just because of what this victory means to this season for this team. I just feel like it is the most consequential win for this franchise in Baltimore since 2007 when Phil Dawson hit the stanchion and, they had that whole review thing and realized that, hey, if the football hits the stanchion, it went over the crossbar, so it's a good kick, and we go to overtime. And, of course, the Ravens were losing their minds, not understanding that particular rule at the time. So, just a fantastic win. Browns fan should be celebrating this. And I mean, look, we saw it in Seattle. They didn't win, but they fell behind 14-0 and eventually went up 17-14. And
yeah, I would say the history of that game may have helped them in this game.
Yeah, I mean,
that game against Seattle, I think, because as well as I do, the defense didn't want to stare down the barrel of that kind of feeling again when they gave up. They didn't give up, but when they gave up the victory, I guess, in Seattle. Let me give you the quote of the game. It was on Zach Jackson's Twitter feed, so I don't know if it was for a group or not. It was from Dustin Hopkins. Did you see it?
No.
If you didn't, I'll tell you what it is. And Meredith alerted this to me, so it was very good stuff. I feel a bit like an arsonist that gets to put out his own fire and then gets a pat on the back. What a great quote from the Browns kicker.
That's a fantastic quote. Yeah, I mean, and again, he went from the GOAT potentially to the hero. They were chipping away there in the first half with field goals, right? First three scores were field goals.
Yeah, I also thought it was interesting after the game that Kevin said why he didn't go for the 60-yarder. And he was right. But I didn't think he was right at the time. I was like, why doesn't he just take a shot at this? Why doesn't he do that? Well, we saw what happened the other way, where the Browns were able to block a kick today.
Yeah, they blocked a 55-yarder, and it helped them set up a field goal. So
yeah, and if that kick doesn't go wide right or wide left into the stands, they can return it. So why put yourself in a weird spot? I'll give Kevin credit on that because I was like, why not take a shot? 60 yards, who cares? But the more I started thinking about it, then Jamal White, who I watched the games with, he said same thing. He's like, man, I played with guys that would live for a team that would try a 60-yarder because I knew I'd have a chance to return it.
Yeah, and so that's the good news. Some not so good news here, Andy.
Okay, yeah, the defensive backfield? Is that where you're going? Or?
Well, injuries to the defensive backfield, but also Deshaun Watson leaving M&T Bank Stadium with a walking boot on his left foot.
I think that was to be expected, though, because you kind of could feel that was coming.
He gutted his way through that thing. And even on that run on the sidelines that cost the Browns their second timeout, where he took a moment, he didn't have to miss a play because they burned the timeout, but you could tell after that scramble, that ankle was really barking, and he was able to hang in there and finish the game. And I just, it wasn't a thing of beauty. It wasn't perfect. I mean, of course, Odell Beckham Jr. had to get a 40-yard touchdown off a
No
slant.
one's going to care. No one cares.
No,
Browns won.
of course, Jadeveon
If
Clowney.
they lost, everyone would have cared. Right?
Jadeveon Clowney had to blow up a drive with a sack on 3rd down, and
But then he got hurt.
Myles Garrett, let's give him some love.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my goodness gracious, another sack and a half for him. How about the company he's in? This is from Dan Murphy of the Cleveland Browns. And their research department. Garrett,
the 10-sack line, yeah.
Reggie White, John Randall, DeMarcus Ware, Jarrett Allen, and Bruce Smith, as well as Lawrence Taylor, is the only players to record 6 straight seasons with 10 or more sacks in them. And he's the only player in the NFL with that current running total now. If I remember correctly, didn't Bruce Smith go like 9 straight seasons with 10 or more sacks?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it sounds right. So I'm not.
Garrett is in like that time. You might.
It's Hall of Fame territory. That's where it is. It's
Ball jacket now, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, he was fantastic. Zadarius Smith was fantastic at key moments in the game. The secondary battered and bruised. They lost Juan Thornhill. They lost Denzel Ward. Again, the resiliency of this football team continues to shine week in and week out, even though the results haven't always been what fans want. But here's the other thing, Andy. Don't sleep on the Browns, who, oh, by the way, have won 4 of their last 5 and 5 of their last 7 since splitting in the first 2 weeks. Now, let's look ahead real quick on what's left on the schedule.
Sure.
Home against Pittsburgh. Huge game next week. Must win. Got to beat the Steelers.
Not flex, just for anybody that thought, and will not be flex. It will be a 1:00 game.
Right. Then they go west. Denver and the Rams. Both of those are winnable games.
But Daryl, they're staying out west, right? In between
that
games?
Is correct. Okay. Then they come home from Jacksonville. I'm looking at the schedule on my wall right now. Come home for Jacksonville and Chicago. Travel to Houston. Boy, how about the Texans on Sunday?
I know.
At the gun. By the way, if the playoffs started now, as of the conversation that you and I are having right now, Cincinnati is out. The Texans are in as the number 7 seed. Browns stand pat at 6-3. Pittsburgh, because of the week 2 win at home, they are the 5th seed in front of the Browns. Baltimore unharmed by the loss to the Browns because they are now a 7-3.5 game behind top seeded Kansas City. The Chiefs, of course, are on their bye week. Jacksonville on the Browns schedule later in the season. They are the 3rd seed at 6-3. Miami on their bye week. They are 6-3 as well. They would be the 4th seed. But yeah, the Bengals, if the playoffs started today, they're out. They got kicked out literally by the Houston Texans at the gun. By the way, did you see the video of the Bengals mascot? He's standing behind the goalpost as the ball goes through. He just goes like this to the goalpost. You got to see the video. It's fantastic.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it when I get it.
It's fantastic. But
all right, Daryl, give me a final thought in the post-game edition here. Give me your final thought.
Again, I'm impressed by so many things. I'm impressed by the fact that even though they kept taking body blows, both literally and figuratively, from the Ravens, they just kept punching back and throwing haymakers right back at the Ravens. Again, they trailed by 2 touchdowns or 14 or more points on 4 occasions. They scored the final 16 points, pitched a shutout for, what was it, the final 11 minutes or so there in the football game after Gus Edwards 1-yard touchdown. Right. Final 11:34 of the game. Browns pitched a shutout. Defense showed up when it mattered most. As you said, Wyatt Teller saving the day on that final drive by falling on the loose football, keeping it in the Browns' hands. Deshaun Watson, gutsy effort from him, dealing with that injury. Just an all-around resilient win. And, of course, Dustin Hopkins, having everyone breathe through a paper bag for much of the 4th quarter after he missed that PAT. But he marches out and makes that 40-yard field goal at the gun with ease. So good for the Browns. Good for Browns fans. Enjoy it. It's about damn time they won a game in Baltimore that mattered.
All right, here's my final thought on this thing. it's Steelers week now, and we'll talk all about it. But man, it is so nice to have a meaningful game against the Steelers coming off of a gigantic victory in Baltimore. The house is going to be on fire next week at Cleveland Browns Stadium for the Steelers Browns, and I can't wait
I don't
to
think
be
we're gonna
there
see
and
a
feel
lot
that
of terrible
electricity.
towels next weekend.
What'd you say?
I don't think we're going to see a lot of terrible towels in the crowd next weekend.
You think Browns fans are going to hang on to their tickets for this one?
I think Browns fans might actually hang on to the tickets and use them next weekend.
And by the way, big ups to all the Browns fans that were in Baltimore. When Cooper, would do anything and they would yell Coop, you could hear it bleeding through the TV. It was cool. He's Daryl Ruiter. I'm Andy Baskin for our producer, Meredith Kane. Thanks for watching the special post-game edition of It's Always Game Day in Cleveland. And thanks for watching on YouTube as well. It's always Game Day in Cleveland.